Hey guys, this is Downs Life and Safety, and welcome to today's Fire Alarm Friday video. So for today's Fire Alarm Friday video, I decided that we should do a collection update. My collection hasn't necessarily changed, but I think it would be a nice video to be able to formally kind of show my and not necessarily demonstrate the devices that I have in my collection. Now, when I define these collectible items, they're not necessarily the ones that are the ones installed in my house. That I don't necessarily consider my collection, because once I move out of this house that I'm living in, they're not mine anymore. So I believe that those devices that are permanently installed in my house deserve a totally different video. So we'll take care of that another time. But for now, we're just going to focus on items that I will be able to take with me once, if I happen to move out, or, you know, something else happens where my family ends up having to move out and stuff. So yeah. All right, for this video, again, we are just going to be showing the devices. I'll explain a little bit some of the cool features about it. And yeah, I won't demonstrate them necessarily, but here you go. Let's go ahead and begin. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in with one of my first devices that I've had in my collection, and that is this Wheellock CH90-24MCC. This is a tone and volume adjustable chime. It's pretty quiet, and it's one of the reasons why I decided to get this. This is one of the models that has no strobe, but rather it only has the speaker plus the chime module that is attached to the back of any stuff. On the back here, you have a little jumper thingy, where you're going to be able to change it from a single stroke to a vibrate and back. Vibrating chime. What the vibrating does is that it makes it chime about once per second, and the single stroke makes it chime just once when power is applied to the circuit. Now, one interesting thing about trying to install this device is that you actually have to take off this red cover plate here. You see these two screws over here. You have to actually unscrew this and then place this back part of the speaker into the junction box before you place the speaker back on again. I find that a little bit interesting in order to install it, but it's a chime, and it's a really big device, so it's probably why you need to do that. Alright, over here is my Wheellock BG12L. It is a dual action pull station, so all I have to do is push in and pull down in order to activate it. If you just try to pull on the handle without pushing in, it's not going to work. You notice here it has the activated label thing, so you can tell whether or not you've activated the pull station, and it locks into place. It also has braille, so that the visually impaired can have the instructions to activate it. To reset it, you just insert the key, turn it, unlock it, open it, and then you have the little switch that's labeled normal and activated. You have your BG12L label sticker thing. You can see it's also spring-loaded, so it resets once it's finished. And all we have to do to reset it, the switch actually self-resets with this little lever thingy here. So we can just push and close it, unlock it, and everything is reset. So the switch went back to normal. You can also do a manual activation. I know that there are models where this removable cover thing is actually replaced with a plate, so that if you have it in a special installation where you don't want the general public to pull it, then you can have that little plate in there, and you can just flip the switch, so you can set it off and reset it so it's normal. I think this is one of the newer versions where it says Firelight Alarms by Honeywell. Alright, over here is the Wheellock HSR. Colloquially, it is known as the Wheellock Exceeder. Wheellock makes multiple versions of the Exceeder series, including the ceiling-mounted and white-colored versions of the alarm. This one is a red color alarm. You'll notice here that the Wheellock Exceeder is multi-candela. You can remove the mounting brackets. Like, if I remove the mounting plate, you'll see the back here, it says Wheellock. Where is it? So I can't really see it, but I know this is the Wheellock HSR. This Wheellock device is multi-candela, so that means you have this little switch here where you can set the candela setting. This alarm can take between 12 volts of power to 24 volts of power. You just have to make sure that the strobe candela switch is set to the correct setting. There's also a selector switch where you can select different volumes and different coding options. I have it so far set on high continuous. Probably should just reset it back to code 3 low. So you have low, medium, high volume, and then you have the options of doing a code 3 or continuous. So have code 3 and continuous on the top. So you have code 3 on the bottom, and then you have continuous on the top 3. This device is 90 decibels at 30 meters on the low volume setting and 99 decibels on the high volume setting. This is the Knapp Co FW2, colloquially known as the Knapp Co Firewolf. It is a 2-wire smoke detector. If we take off the cover, it looks like this. I've had this dust cover on for quite some time, just because it's just been sitting in storage without, anything happening to it. Particularly because I have had no place to mount this device. I don't plan on replacing this with the Security Systems i3 just because I don't feel like messing around with the hardware and the programming that goes into replacing a smoke detector head, or smoke detector in its entirety in that case. But I am considering a purchase that will allow me to mount this smoke detector on a wall and have myself set it off on my leisure, if you know what I mean. So stay tuned to that. I'm still considering the purchase of whether or not I should go forward with it, but we'll see what the near future brings. Anyways, you will see that it has 2 LEDs. These LEDs go off at the same time, and they both, so that way you don't have to go to, so that way if you only see one side of the detector, you only need to see one LED to confirm its operation. If you take it off, it's sort of base. It's very hard to. So here's the base. And you'll notice that it has no terminals because all the terminals are wired on the smoke detector head itself, which is kind of interesting. I don't think you see a lot of smoke detector heads that are wired this way. So this is a photoelectric type smoke detector. You'll see that it says photoelectric on the top over here. I get the focus. All right. And it is a 2-wire detector, even though it has like a bunch of terminals. 2 of these, I don't remember which. 2 of these are meant for relay so that you can wire up external peripherals to the detector in case it goes off. And then 2 of these are for the actual fire alarm panel itself. This detector uses a magnet test, so you can use a magnet, like if I can find one off my board, like this one, and use it to set it off like that. So you can, there's a little reed switch which you can hold the magnet to, and if you hold it for long enough, then it will set it off in full alarm. To put it back on its base, you just have to, once you wire it up, all you have to do is just set it on the base. There's a little notch over here so where you can align it with. Then you just turn it clockwise, and it locks into place. So there you go. All right, folks, well, that's all I have for actual fire alarm devices. Let's take a look at the freestanding devices I have around my home. So over here we have the Panasonic SH28455K802. It is a Taiwanese photoelectric smoke alarm that I got as a souvenir from Taiwan. You can find these in a lot of hardware stores, just like you would in a regular Home Depot. Taiwanese, a lot of smoke alarms in Asia I find happen to have this little string which you can remotely test it so that you don't have to actually climb a ladder and test it. So, and just said it was normal. Again, it's photoelectric, so you have the little photoelectric detector head, and you also have the speaker that's right in the middle. In its full alarm, it is not actually that loud, though it is pretty ear-piercing due to the whoop it generates. At about 10 meters, it is around 70 to 80 decibels, so it's a little bit more on the quiet side than what the standard smoke alarm, in terms of how loud the standard smoke alarm is in America. Alright everyone, if you look above my door, you can see there's something really bright and really green. It is this Edgelet exit sign made by Hongguang Company. Its model number is HK740E1-2. It is an exit sign that is very common in Taiwan. You have the word exit over here. You can see my fingers wiggling right over there. It's exit, and then Jinji Chuko, which is directly translated to emergency exit. You can see that it uses the ISO 7010 exit sign design, which is the standard in much of the world. I still do not understand why America refuses to change that standard, but I digress. This exit sign is rated to run 1 hour and 30 minutes, though it does go way past that limit in another video, which I will link in the upper right-hand corner. So even though it's generic, this exit sign is probably one of the brightest things in my entire collection. In fact, my dad came in one time and I had all the lights off, and he commented that this was going to be the ultimate night light. And you can see with the room lighting over here, it's so bright it overexposes. The camera can't overexposes the exit sign. All right, over here is the Universal brand SH18S. It is an emergency light that is also not necessarily common, but the design that where it uses a small box like that, and then it has a little strip LED or a fluorescent light bulb is very common in Taiwan. Again, this model is also rated for 1 hour and 30 minutes. I also demonstrated another video where it doesn't necessarily, it meets the 1 hour and 30 minutes, and after that it just decides to poop out because of how, probably just the way it was made and the battery consumption. You'll notice that it does have a plug that goes into the mains power. A lot of devices in Taiwan, and you'll see in another device that I have, they come with very short plugs that allows you to plug into the mains outlet. I did not rig it like some other collectors would, where they would wire the mains voltage directly into the sign. It just comes with a regular thingy, a regular plug-in, so that you can be able to set it up pretty quickly. And in fact, a lot of plugs, there are actually a lot of plugs in the ceilings in Taiwan so that people can retrofit these emergency devices into the building and make their building up to code. All right, moving down here, I have first here a Midland WR120 weather radio. It's my first weather radio that I have in my collection. It works decently well. If we look to the left, and we have this little can of Smoke Saber that I do expect to use sometime in the future. Stay tuned for that. Over here, you'll notice that there is a nice little fire extinguisher bin. I got this also as a souvenir from Taiwan. I was planning on making a video on this at some point last summer. For some reason, things didn't work out, so here it is for you guys. It is a bin from Taiwan. Miyahochi. I must be butchering the tones for that terribly, and I apologize for that. But it's fire extinguisher. They do permit the use of fire extinguisher, or the placement of fire extinguishers on the floor, provided that it is clearly labeled with signage so that people are able to access it. And one way that they like to do that is to place fire extinguishers in bins so that people will be able to locate them in case there is a fire breakout where they are. At the moment, I don't have this set out in my home just because it's kind of, I mean, it's a home. You don't really need this. We just keep the fire extinguishers in closets, and the house is small enough, of course, where you're going to be able to know where it is. Plus, we put little decals with the fire extinguishers on them, so this really wasn't necessary in my house, so I just use it as a little bin to keep my stuff in. Alright, over here is my Recom R200. You guys already saw the video to this, so there's not a lot of explaining to do with this. This is the only weather radio I have set so that it will go off when I get an alert from my county, just because I felt the redundancy and how slow the WR120 keeps going off every time there's an alert sent out. It was just bothering me a little bit, so I decided to turn the WR120 off and leave this one on. Alright, so this is the Chikey SSFC10HC. Yes, Chikey does make residential fire detection devices. Of course, they are only sold in Southeast Asia. This particular one does come from Taiwan. Again, it is the Taiwanese variant of the Japanese model that Chikey produces. This device is a heat detector that activates at 50 degrees Celsius or about 135 degrees Fahrenheit. I have this mounted up here in the kitchen so that we have a little bit of extra fire protection in case something does happen here in the kitchen. I will demonstrate this device at a later time, just not right now because it's nighttime and I don't really want to disturb my family. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least in this collection video is the Tightsong Firefighting Enterprise Stock Company's model number 157531 square model exit sign. You'll notice here that it uses the Running Man design on the bottom right corner with a big green arrow pointing to the left. And if we happen to look to the left, you'll notice it goes to this very wonderful door. So I wanted to take a note quickly of a very interesting design choice that some Southeast Asian countries have made, specifically South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. And this will also apply to rectangular exit signs. So apparently the de facto standard from what I can research is whenever you're dealing with a exit sign that's trying to communicate direction, either left or right, you are going to have an exit sign that uses a white background with green pictograms. Of course, it's going to use the green arrow and the green running man, but other than that, everything else, the entirety of the background is going to be white. But whenever you have an exit sign that is communicating an exit straight ahead, you're going to have a completely green background with, of course, the white areas where the running man requires the white areas to be. I find that pretty clever with these exit signs. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that will be a wrap for today's Fire Alarm Friday video. If you happen to have any questions about this, feel free to post in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Oh, and one more thing before I leave, go ahead and join the Fire Alarm Technicians and Collectors Discord server. It is a wonderful community made up of fire alarm enthusiasts just like me, of various ages and stages, and it's just a really wonderful community to hang out with. Also, go ahead and join the Fire Panel forums. It is also maintained by the same group of people that manage the wonderful Discord server I just mentioned. These groups I just mentioned are open to everyone, including technicians, so if you happen to be a fire alarm technician, hey, kudos to you. You get to join, and you get a very special technician role. So, yeah, that's it. Alright everyone, that will wrap up for today's video. I'll see you guys in another Fire Alarm Friday video when it comes out, so see you all later. Bye.